Thanks, everyone. My name is Rahul Vedak. I'm product manager here at BMC, and Peter Adams. Peter will unlikely be able to join today. He is traveling in EMEA. Topic is kind of familiar to us. Smart reporting to Helix Dashboard. In fact, when we had the RUG 2 months back, we did present the Helix Dashboard topic to you, and also included a demo of Helix Dashboard. So today we'll focus more on the transition journey here. So very quickly, I'll recap Helix Dashboard so that you will be able to appreciate all the other relevant content. We'll talk about some high-level comparison between smart reporting and Helix Dashboard, so that's where you'll be able to make a judgment of what all things that you'll see, and what all things that you need to take care when you're doing this transition. There is a support extension. Probably this will be the most interesting topic for many of you, given that smart reporting was used by many customers, and they are still they haven't planned for the entire upgrade or the transition here. And then the migration tool or the conversion tool that BMC is currently building, an update on that, the approach that we are taking there, and a list of resources that might come handy. So to recap our December conversation, we launched Helix Dashboard almost a year back for ITSM. We, in fact, the Helix Dashboard as a solution was launched in 2020, and subsequently last February we made it available for ITSM solution. So that included, the core ITSM business workflow, chatbot, custom applications. So most of the applications on the service management side, including DWP. So what this solution is, it's a Grafana based solution. Grafana is an open source observability dashboard platform, and that's that's where we have added a bunch of capabilities to make it native to Helix, Helix ITSM, Helix Monitor, Helix Capacity solutions. So in the list of products and the releases, since when this solution is available for those different solutions. Now, why we believe Helix Dashboard is a better solution from what you had seen it so far. So first of all, it's a solution that's a common reporting technology, dashboard technology for across the Helix stack. So that's where you'll be able to use the same reporting dashboard platform for service management as operations management products. And this has been one of the thing that we heard in the past, that you had to run a reporting for ITSM. You had needed another reporting for Innovation Suite, another third one for TrueSight portfolio product, which one was like a lot of overhead redundancy, as well as it was you couldn't make any data which is coming across these different solutions, right? So combined report. So now we turn to Helix Dashboard, and this is one sample out of the box dashboard template that you get. You have a list of services. This service list is coming from the Discovery DSM. You have the event information. You have incident related information for the service. The SL information for the service request, change request status. So also some of the metrics like the MTBF, MTTR, availability of the service. So all of these metrics across DSO and DSM, service management and service operations, are available in a single dashboard. Not only that, if you actually take a close look at this panel, this particular one at the center, this can get data from the events, health score, incident changes, all combined. So that's that's how you can actually combine it, not just at the dashboard level, but also at the specific panel or specific report. You can combine that data. So that was more for DSO plus DSM, or operations plus service management. But even if you're operating in the just the service management product, you can have a dashboard that covers business workflow cases, ITSM tickets, or the DWP request in one dashboard, right? So again, it helps you to get all the relevant data in one single dashboard coming from these different solutions within ITSM. The other part of the challenges we had heard in the past is there was always a need for getting some data from other systems which are not necessarily your ITSM or operations system. And that data, for example, in the telephony data in case of ITSM plays a important role for some of the metrics, and there was no way to get that information. We come to Helix Dashboard, and you have a library of data sources or adapters. So you have Postgres, you have MySQL, you have SQL Server, or there are other ones like the Elastic or the Prometheus for more on the operations management. You can connect to these data sources and bring in the relevant data in the context of service management or operations management. One quick clarification here: although there are many data sources available, there are few data sources which are classified as enterprise data sources, which are not available here, like the Datadog, Splunk, or Oracle one. So to recap this slide, you get the single framework, you get a rich library of external connectors here. This entire Helix dashboard, very similar to the previous reporting technology, comes bundled with your ITSM or the other solutions. There is no additional licensing here. In fact, previously, business workflow or custom AI application had limited licensing available for smart reporting, but in the case of Helix dashboard, they have all all of the solutions are licensed to use this application. So so before I move to the next slide, one from the positioning standpoint, although we say that Helix dashboard is better, I just want to be clear that it doesn't provide one-to-one replacement for smart reporting. So if you're trying to compare the equivalent exact feature, you might see that there are a different way to achieve it, or there are exactly the same let's say visualization not available, right? So we have a couple of areas we have listed here to make sure that you kind of understand what are some of the differences in these technologies. Again, this is fairly at high level. I don't claim that this covers every small comparison of the features here, but just this is more to educate or enable you to make sure that when you transition, you are not surprised with some of the differences here, right? So collaboration in smart reporting was one kind of the interesting feature set. In fact, they had multiple capabilities there, like the storyboard, present, stories, the timeline task. What is again, in our Helix dashboard world, there is no such the collaboration options available. However, what we had also seen is previously smart reporting customer adoption for some of this collaboration was very low or insignificant, except something like storyboard. For most of the other part, we didn't hear much of the issues or a lot of action on those capabilities. At the same time, customers, we have seen the users actually prefer the in-context collaboration, like using Smart IT, or using the DWP, or using the chat for in-context collaboration. And given that Smart IT has MS Team integration, Slack integration coming up, it kind of probably user may not miss some of these collaborations in the Helix dashboard. Now, this slide probably is going to be the one that's where the users will see the, I would say, significant difference in report designing experience. With smart reporting, there was a drag and drop report designer. There was a semantic view which simplified how it simplified the complex data structure of ITSM. When we talk about Helix dashboard, that experience is going to be far different. There are two primary ways to design a report or design a panel in a dashboard. One is you select a form. So for example, you pick HPD helpdesk form, and then for that form, you select the set of fields. You add like, you add some function to those fields, and that's how you build your panel or, query. So that's one way. Or someone who is knowledgeable, who has, all the understanding of, how to write queries, complex query, they can start with the advanced mode and use the freehand SQL for complex query writing, right? So those are primary two ways available today. There are a couple of things that BMC is currently working on to make this experience even better. One is we are looking at adding calculated field. In fact, we already had added calculated field, out of the box calculated field, so that you don't have to write, that snippet of code or query every time. So, the count of incident, right? That will be available in your Helix dashboard environment. And while we will continue to add out of the box field, there is going to be a provision for you to also create your own set of calculated field that you can use when designing this report or designing the query. We are trying to simplify, or have, let's say, third way of designing a panel, which will be more wizard based or guided report creation experience, where instead of having to even select a form and those things, we'll have it more easy to understand way, more targeted for business users, how they want to design the report, right? So that's another way we are looking at how we can have a report creation experience improved. And then while that's about kind of building reports or dashboards on your own, we are also looking at how a marketplace or community can be established for generating content as well as sharing the content. So what is interesting here is there is a very easy way to take a report and move it to another environment using the JSON structure for Helix dashboard. And what we are looking at is making this available in some kind of GitHub, so that let's say I'm an independent report developer, I can just go ahead and contribute, or just upload that JSON to the GitHub with some of the comments and details, and then other customers, other partners can actually use that JSON and add it to their Helix dashboard. So we are looking at building this content. In fact, within BMC, we have teams building content, like our pre-sales team. They build content for operations management, and we are able to very quickly do some validation and make it in the monthly releases. Same thing is happening with support and the services team. They are building content which will be available in the marketplace folder in Helix dashboard. And then the data dictionary, we know that some of the challenges with report design is not everyone is familiar with the structure or the data structure, data dictionary of the application. So we are looking at how we can publish this, so that when you are building the report, you have some easy to understand documentation around the backend schema for ITSM or business workflow kind of application, or DW for that matter. Now, while I talked about the experience on the UI will be different, underlying query capabilities are at par in both of these solutions, because these use the ARJDBC for querying the data. So at the query layer, you'll be able to do the similar capabilities, irrespective whether it's smart reporting or the new Helix dashboard. Now, integration wise, I think this is kind of well understood now that Helix dashboard works with all the solutions that smart reporting did. As I mentioned previously, Innovation Suite or Business Workflow application, they had some licensing limitation. There is no more. Our digital workplace solution had no reporting, custom reporting available, which is now available through Helix dashboard. And also the new solutions like ITSM Insight Live Chat, they also are integrated with Helix dashboard. There is a out of the box templates available already. Data source, I think we kind of touched upon it. Smart reporting only had ER system as a source, so there was no possibility to get external data. Helix dashboard, there are multiple ways to get external data. It can be a the different database server, or it could be the other ways like in the CSV or JSONs, as well as there are inbuilt plugins available for other Helix solution, and then the Grafana source data source plugin that we saw in the previous slides. Report scheduling is one key area, and that's where Helix Dashboard is pretty close to what Smart Reporting did. We have ways to distribute the report to users. One additional thing that you get in Helix Dashboard is you can send it to external users. So previously with Smart Reporting, you could only send it to the users who are part of Smart Reporting user database or in the ITSM. When we go to Helix Dashboard, you can also include external email IDs, or you can send it to different DL distribution list for any report or dashboard that you want to send it on the schedule basis. And not just that, but there is also a whitelisting of domains, so that if someone starts sending those those schedule report to personal email IDs or Gmail, etc., you could instead say that whitelisted domains are only for my company dot com, my company dot the whatever the other domain names you have. That way, only those whitelisted domains can be used for sending the email, but not any other email domains. Report distribution format, we have focused on the most important, or the most widely used one: PDF, CSV, and XLS. The others, particularly the HTML based one, is under consideration for future releases. And email, we talked about it. Report distribution via FTP or the secure FTP is another one that we are looking at in the possibly in the 6 months timeline. Now, there are few things which may or may not apply to every customer, but localization, again, Helix Dashboard has a application interface which is internalization ready. However, it doesn't have localizations for different locales available out of the box. So you could create a report with labels and information in a, say, in Germany, but or the German language, but you will not be able to see that in automatically getting converted to English or Spanish based on the user's local. So that the whole localization or the local experience will come in next 6 to 12 months. Service provider, we have the tenant level separation on the Helix Dashboard deployment. However, the MSP use case is typically where customers have company-based separation of the data. That might have some kind of information available to different users, like the list of companies or lists of groups, which could show for different users as a filter, etc. However, the core ticket data, since it's flowing through JDBC, it will never show up when you are running the report. Audit report, admin report, these are more to understand how how users are using your reporting service. So those things will probably take up slightly later. And then assisted insight, one of the capability that we added in Smart Reporting a while back, but there are no plans to make an equivalent available in Helix Dashboard. Now, let me change gear and talk about the actual transition plan and how BMC is going to help you with some of that thing. When we announced Smart Reporting, the withdrawal, we had probably the most aggressive timeline in the history of BMC for making the ITSM Smart Reporting end of life. However, that was based on two strong belief. One is Helix Dashboard will definitely have better experience for our customers, as well as we will also invest in the conversion tool, migration tool, so that that whole process is going to be you don't have to do everything manually there, right? Given that customers will have invested in Smart Reporting and will require some time and effort to convert to or start with Helix Dashboard, we have actually offered extended support for customers for another 12 months after the end of life. So so the selected customers who kind of opt for the extended support, they can use their Smart Reporting till April 2023, so another 14 months from now. What you need to do here is just reach out to your BMC account manager, requesting them for the support extension for smart reporting. And many of the account managers are already informed, and they have also pre-registered some of the accounts for this support extension. Now, what happens with customers with support without support extension and with extended support? First, the without extended support, another 2 months time, which is in the April 2022, clearly the EPD will not be available for them. That includes smart reporting. They can, of course, they can still continue to access EPD, but they will see bits which are without smart reporting. They cannot have smart reporting hotfixes and patches available, as well as they cannot raise any support tickets for smart reporting. If the customer is in SaaS, Helix deployment in the SaaS, then the service will stop for smart reporting. Of course, if the customer is running smart reporting on-prem, they can choose to continue with smart reporting without any BMC support there. Customers who will be on extended support till the April 23, again, the other way it is true, so they can continue to kind of access all the EPD installer. The hotfixes, patches will be available, support will be available, and then the SaaS service will be available to them till April 23. Irrespective of what, how you kind of whether you're on extended support or not, smart reporting last release is and was 21.3. So that we kind of freeze on that 21.3 ITSM smart reporting. There are no major minor releases that we have planned. Only based on the hotfix or patch or the security related issues, we could come up with another deliverable, but no major releases planned. However, the last release of smart reporting will be compatible with the future releases like 22.1, 22.2. Those the future releases of ITSM, those will be compatible. So if this, in other words, mean that you can still upgrade your ITSM to a latest, say 22.1 ITSM. However, your smart reporting continues to be on the older version and to be compatible with that new ITSM version. Now, let me go to this, the most important aspect of this whole conversation. That's the conversion tool and assessment tool. So before I actually talk about the tool and the philosophy behind the tool, what we did was we actually try and find out some data trends. So we analyzed close to 14 customers, mostly in the SaaS or SaaS deployment, trying to understand the trend or the usage pattern around what kind of charts they use. Okay, and what we saw is there is a clear winner in terms of the tabular report, right? So you see those percentage in the bracket, and then these are the number of percentage of reports of their total report which are in the tabular format, like just almost like a spreadsheet tab without any visualization or chart there. And then the other where like the pie chart, bar chart, line chart, these are the other most common chart type that many users have used, and that kind of on an average that makes the 80% of the report population for on an average customer. Now this 80% could be 70% for you, or it could be very well a 90%. We just kind of heard done the rough numbers based on those 14 customers that we analyzed the data for. What is very clearly coming out is, if we focus on this, that will, as a part of the conversion tool process, that will definitely help customers to very quickly get to the Helix dashboard. And then we have, still the remaining 20%, which will possibly take up after our, the initial conversion tool release after, the March, April this year. Or maybe there are some chart type which we will not be able to address because there is no equivalent available in Helix dashboard. Let's say spider chart or scatter chart, right? We may not have anything equivalent. So there we might just get you the query and tabular data, but that's end of it. So this 20% will not focus for now, maybe another 2 months, but for now we just focus on this, the initial 80%. And just to be clear that when we are talking about this the bulk of your reports, there might be still some effort required even after converting this 80%, right? So when we convert this 80%, maybe the data is going to be technically right, but let's say you've after the conversion is done, you see that the area of the visualization is not sufficient, all right? So you might want to adjust it, or the legends that you had on the bar chart, they need some adjustment. So those are some of the things that you might need to still go and change, yeah, even after the migration is complete. So how the tool is going to work at a very high level, it's a ETL process, right? Extract, transform, and load. It extracts it from smart reporting. It gets the query. It understands what kind of chart or visualization or table that you have. Make some transformation in terms of query changes to make it compatible with the Helix dashboard, and then finally load it as a new as a JSON into Helix dashboard as a new dashboard. So it will get a report name, query, filter condition from the source system, and create that as a new dashboard in the Helix dashboard. And this process can be done for any out-of-the-box smart reporting that smart report we shipped, any custom report that you created over a period of time, and whether you use the ITSM standard ITSM, or you made any ITSM customization. This will take care of all of those things. Chart type, I already talked about it. It will take the most common chart type in the initial release, and we'll expand it for other visualizations as we go. There is one thing that we will be adding to this whole thing is this process need not, this conversion process or this migration process is not going to be need not be a real time where you take all your 100 report and immediately convert it and push it into dashboard. You could take a phase approach where you say that only my service desk report is what I migrate first, or let's say my EMEA team is the report they use is only the one that will migrate first. So you could identify those report and push it through a CSV so that only those will get processed, and you can do this process multiple times. It will also get in the folder, subfolder, the query and other deployment related thing. Once we complete our the initial release, we will expand, continue to expand actually the scope of the conversion tool, and the immediate thing that will include is the broadcast. So some customers extensively use this broadcast or schedule report. So we will try and get the broadcast related metadata for each report as well, so that you are able to not just get the report and it's like the chart visualization query, but also the schedule associated with that broadcast. And as I mentioned, we'll expand for additional chart types and some customer feedback that we'll get from the initial release. Now, the key question is how this tool will be available. So this will be available for both SaaS and on-prem customers. Very likely we'll use the combination of EPD or the FTP for releasing this tool. It is going to be mostly through a CLI interface. There is no separate pricing or licensing plan for this tool. It will be available to all customers. This requires Helix dashboard. Again, this is a very obvious statement that it requires Helix dashboard, but the way we should read this is there are only few versions of ITSM which are coming with Helix dashboard combined with it. So if you're on-prem, as of today, you have this release ITSM 21.302 is the only release that comes bundled with which actually bundles Helix dashboard. And this is a version which is containerized deployment of ITSM. So for you to get to the Helix dashboard, you need to get to the ITSM 21.302 containerized deployment. If you're in SaaS, 21.05 or 21.3 are the releases where you get the Helix dashboard bundle. I already talked about the timeline, which is next month, or maybe it might get pushed out to April, or the timeline for making this tool available. The other kind of the complementary to this whole conversation around the conversion tool or migration tool is we have defined an assessment tool, and actually it's not a tool per se, but a bunch of queries there. And what it really tries to do is we whenever we started this conversation with customer, there was a question that how much effort we'll have to spend to do this entire migration. Can we do it on our own, or we need let's say BMC services or partner here? And when we ask some of the questions like how many reports you have, what kind of chart type, not every customer had insight to it, because very obviously the reports are created by for some customers wide variety of group across the different regions. There are concepts of private reports, so even though you have understanding of all your report infrastructure, the private report are not visible to you, etc. So that's where what we have come up with is a bunch of queries that will give you this information about how many reports you have today, how many dashboards you have, what kind of chart types used in your the reports or dashboard, which are the ITSM modules which are used in the report, so that you understand which modules have the highest number of reports, report permission, as well as the usage part, right? So while we can get this data, the other part really helps you understand the importance of which dashboards or reports are more important than the others. So you have some information like the most used reports or most used dashboard in last 30 days, or the report that have the highest or the most frequent schedule or the broadcast run. So that's the kind of information we provide through a bunch of queries. Now, for the second part, there is a dependency on the smart reporting audit form. So if you plan to use this toolkit, maybe it will be a good idea to enable this smart reporting audit so that the usage part will be now started tracking, and let's say a month down the line when the conversion tool or the assessment tool is available to you, you can see this information in your system. So this is what we have done is, this is more for SaaS customers. We have actually built an internal portal, and we there are a couple of queries that we run in the backend to get the information. Like, here it gives the count of reports with chart without or only the tabular data, and the list of all reports which are in the open status. This one gives the report list with the report ID and the chart time. This is going to be probably the one of the critical one for you to make an assessment is how many of these reports, let's say you have some 3,000 reports that you have in the system, how many of these will be converted by migration tool versus the others that you'll have to either do it manually, or partly the conversion tool will take care of it. So that we will support only these chart type in the initial release. So if you kind of do some kind of say pivot table on this data, you'll be able to quickly understand whether it's 80% for you, whether it's a 30% for you, or whether it's 90% for you, right? So that assessment can be done based on this data. Yeah, these are the reports based on the usage. So most used reports, most used dashboard, reports with the frequent broadcast runs. Similarly, the other way, the least used reports and dashboard, right? This is also important because many times you have lot of reports in the system, but there are reports which may not be used at all in last 1 year. So that what things not to prioritize whenever you are talking about the conversion or the migration. So how we plan to make some of these available to you, particularly for on-premise customers, we will actually publish a document with the underlying queries. These are going to be smart reporting queries that the admin will run on the smart reporting backend, and they can get the data that we just saw on the previous slide, maybe in the the Excel format. And of course, it will require a user with a sysadmin permission on the smart reporting. For SaaS customer, we are kind of validating some of these the queries in internally, BMC internally, and maybe in another few weeks time, you could request the CVS team to provide this data, so that you can look at the similar data for your deployment, and make some assessment as how much effort time will be required for your migration project. To wrap up the session, I have resources around the recording of the webinar that we did a couple of months back, and some of the other the WBT courses that we have, web-based training courses we have released that you can take benefit, and some of the manual migration guidelines that we have published. And these are the Grafana references. If you're interested in learning more on just on the Grafana, this is the the site, and where you can also get a Grafana live demo environment. Again, this environment may not be have anything which is BMC context, but it's still a good place to get started with just the user experience, or how you build a typical report or a panel or dashboard with Grafana. So that's pretty much I had to cover here. I think we're just around the that 40-minute mark. So
yep.
Bob, back to you.
I think you're right on target. We had a few questions in the chat. I'm gonna read them out to you, Rahul, and let you respond to them, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Second here. All right. So Chris asked, Smart Reporting had a number of out-of-the-box reports with it for ITSM. What out-of-the-box dashboards are being provided with the Helix dashboards? I think you covered some of those.
Right. We have quite a few. I mean, if I'll have to kind of be accurate with my numbers, but we have probably more than 20 dashboards already out there. And the good part of the story with Helix Dashboard is we are doing monthly releases, monthly push. So we are able to add at least 2 to 3 dashboards on month-on-month basis. So today internally we had demo of 2 dashboards, one for problem management and another one for a major incident. So that's a good story. I'll make sure that I share the documentation link where we have listed all the dashboard and a representative screenshot for each dashboard there.
Okay, and I'm going to add to that a little bit, being that going to be an on-prem customer for it. As you keep adding those, is there going to be a special location to go pull and import the new ones that you build out that aren't there when we first install?
So the way it works is those are bundled as part of our release itself, right? So though you'll not get it, or the other way to put it is, the moment you upgrade your Helix dashboard to the next version, you'll see the bunch of those available in your new environment. Okay,
all right. So the SaaS people will get it as you roll it out, and
right.
Then all right, okay.
All yeah, right, and that's the current one. Just to make sure that we are have the right understanding, we are also looking at the community or marketplace concept, where eventually we'll make it available as soon as we release it, right? So there it will be available the moment we release it for SaaS as well.
Excellent. All right. And Jerry asks, and I think you covered this at the end, are there online videos provided for report designers to self-learn the Helix Dashboards tool and how Grafana works?
Yep.
Okay. And Jerry also asks, is there a current effort to build a conversion integration module? I think you covered that very well. And the question was, will smart reporting continue to be supported for those versions that are not end of life? And I think so you were talking about the extension. That's only an extension if you intend to go up to an on-prem 21.302. Is that correct?
No, let me recap it. So the way smart reporting end of life is planned, it's irrespective of your ITSM, the support date. So even if you have, say, the latest ITSM version, which has a support for, let's say, 2025 or even beyond, smart reporting will still end another 2 months time, or if you're on the extended support, 14 months from now. So all the dates that we have for ITSM solution, the support cycle, those remains the same. However, the smart reporting component will get retired, this April or next April, based on whether you're in on extended support. The extended support is additional time for customers to kind of get started with Helix Dashboard and complete that transition, and that's available for another 12 months. So after 12 months, irrespective of whatever version of ITSM you have, it will stop working for you if you're in SaaS, or if you're in on-prem, you will have to run it without any BMC support.
Okay, all right. And then Siggi asks, are you working on FedRAMP certifications for the dashboards? Is it separated on being FedRAMP from the regular ITSM product?
I may not be able to accurately answer it. The way I know that is for FedRAMP, we have slightly different deployment. So maybe it needs to go through some certification. But my apologies, I don't have up-to-date information on that.
All right. And Tom Beckett just makes a comment, I believe, to the people he brought to this, that Helix Dashboards will not be available on the current 2008 ITSM. The next IL4 DISA accredited Helix version will include Helix Dashboards. I think it's just a comment. And Jerry makes a comment as well. So thank you for the no additional licensing. And I think we all agree with that every time we get something and we have to go talk to people to say we need licensing for this, they start going, this thing just keeps costing me more and more. But Jerry also asks, are there any forms from the ITSM application suite that are blocked from being used from the Helix dashboards? For example, the backend history forms.
I think the few forms and this behavior, the way I can accurately represent it is, the JDBC remains the same. So if you're not able to access a form in smart reporting, you wouldn't be able to access it in Helix dashboard as well. So I think some of the form which are represented in the H table, they are unlikely available even now.
Okay. And then Tom makes another comment that for all of you that are BMC federal accounts, they have all been nominated for extended smart reporting support. I wish, Tom, that also included NASA. I'll probably have to ask for it separately. So I appreciate that. So Rahul, I have a question before I open it up to anybody else on the mic that wants to ask. We have an extensive amount of custom forms that we have built and wrapped around the ITSM suite. And so therefore in smart reporting, I have built several views for my custom forms and tied them over to say change management or tasking, etc. As your conversion tool, while it will look at the structure and the query of the report, will it also look deep enough in to understand the query of the custom view and add all of that into the report as it builds it over?
Right. So that's not how it will work, because the views that you are referring to are smart reporting views, or the semantic views, which was exclusive to that intermediate smart reporting layer, or the semantic layer. When we talk about Helix dashboard, it will directly interact with the backend ITSM form. So there is no intermediate layer that we had previously. So the concept of those semantic view doesn't exist. So when we do the conversion, we are going to be understanding the JDBC query that was running in the backend, and not the semantic view which was seen by you or me when designing the report. So it will still get you the same result or the same query, but in the new world, you will not be able to find that custom view, semantic view that you had built.
Okay. Has anybody else got a question for Rahul?
Yeah, I'll be around for some more time while John takes it up. So if there are questions in the chat, I can definitely answer those.
Okay, Rahul, is there anything in your slide deck today that that you would not want me to send out to everybody here?
Maybe I'll do a quick sanity and send it to you, and then you can
Okay.
share that version.
Good. I appreciate it.